was not going to get negative here. Let's talk about the book. It's a dual biography, and I was just starting to gush about it before we hit record because they're two perfect opposites, but at the same time, they're similar. What made you decide that you were doing a dual biography?
I learned early that it's better to show more than one perspective or to follow the perspective into another sentence. I used to do it with, sometimes there are families. My last book, In the Shadow of the Empress, was about the great Maria Theresa of Austria. She was the only woman ever to inherit and rule the vast Habsburg Empire in her own right? But she also had a number of daughters, and I followed 3 of them because they were also in positions of power, and you saw how everything played out. In this instance, the 19th century, if you're, everyone says, okay, it's the Victorian age. I love Victoria too, okay? But if you think it's just about her, you're missing all the fun. Really. I knew I wanted to do Empress Elisabeth, who's better known today by her childhood nickname of Sisi. I discovered her when I was actually researching it, a much earlier book, and we were in Prague. And I walked into a bookstore in Prague. And of course, almost everything is in a different language, but they had this one little English section. So I went over to the English section, and there, face out, was a book with her picture on it. And it's a picture that's on the cover of the book where she's kind of dressed in this good fairy princess gown with diamond stars in her hair. And I was like, I literally did like a cartoon character. I did a double take. And who is that? That can't be a real person. Of course, I had to have that book, and then it was just a little teeny guidebook, basically. And I read it, and when I realized she was actually an empress and knew something about her, so I was like, oh, okay, I got to do her, because she's really important for many reasons. But you can't understand her unless you also understand what's going on the other side. What I loved, it took me 2 seconds once I knew I wanted to do Franz to find Eugénie. Also, Sisi's like a rock star today in Germany. They have a film about her every year. She's got two series running at the same time, one on Netflix and one on PBS, German language, but she's their Princess Diana, so she's well known. Eugénie has been completely ignored, written out of the history books, and she was just so important to the period also to see it from both sides, because Sisi and Eugénie are often on opposing sides. They're living through everything together from opposite sides, so you can see what each side is thinking, and that's a great way to provide context for each of their lives.